Good morning, everybody. It's Antoinette coming to you from 2OG's Hooking and Stitchin' Island Style, located on Deer Island in the Bay of Fundy, here in Canada. Today, I am going to redo the tutorial for the Chevron Relief Stitch. That's block number 8 in the Leisure Arts Heirloom Afghan cowl that we're doing. There has been a lot of difficulty with it. So I thought I'll redo the tutorial that I have up. I'll take that one down when I finish this. And also, while we're doing this tutorial, I'm going to discuss reading patterns. I've had some interest in learning how to read patterns, people that have difficulty reading patterns. Now, by no means am I an expert. I do struggle sometimes with patterns because designers write differently. There is a general similarity to patterns, excuse me, but there is some differences when they are writing patterns. And even the best designers sometimes make mistakes. Even when they have a tech edited down the line, mistakes happen, whether it's a typo, an error in printing it, when they print it, but it happens. So this is going to probably be a little longer than any of my other tutorials, as we are going to do this block from basically start to finish, with the exception of doing the finishing, which is just your single crochet around the block and then the main color around the block. But we're going to do the pattern. So you know that I don't edit, so if we come up on a mistake in this video, it's going to stay in. I'm going to have to switch from the face forward that I'm talking to you to the setup I have over here. I'm going to show you here. I'll just kind of move this a little bit. I'm going to show you. Here's my setup for my tutorial. Nothing fancy. I don't have anything fancy. I have a bigger tripod, but it's too hard to see when I am in front of the camera to see what I'm doing. So I have my LCD screen where I can see as I'm working in front of the camera. So I'm going to shut this off, and then I will begin recording on my camera, and then I'll be the extent of my editing, blending the clips together. So I hope this tutorial helps explain the stitch better. I do know that there are more blocks that are giving people trouble. They gave me trouble. I think I've got 10 blocks on the list, and of those 10, I think there's 6 that I've had to rip out and I've had to redo and still have to redo. I right now have another batch of blocks blocking behind me. If you can see back there, that is column 5 that's blocking. I think I have 2 blocks left on that column, so once they're done I'll block them also, and then it's just column 6 and 7, which I have more than half of the blocks done for those 2. So without any further ado, I'm going to shut this off, pause it, and then I'm going to go to the camera. So hopefully this will help you. And if you have any questions, please feel free in the comment section of the tutorial video to put it there. Reach out to me via messenger, email. I'll gladly help you any way I can. I am hopefully going to be able to do a Zoom this Friday, probably around lunchtime, Atlantic time. I'm still trying to work out the bugs. So, on to the tutorial. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Okay, now I just switched. I don't know how to go from the computer to the camera. They're 2 separate entities. So, for this tutorial, you're going to need yarn, scissors, a stitch marker, your hook, and I've already started the pattern we're doing, the block we're doing, is block number 8, the Chevron Relief. This is one that I redid. It doesn't have the edging on it, but this is the Chevron Relief. If you can see, this is the Chevron Relief. And this is the pattern from the Leisure Arts. Let me put this. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so we can read it. Okay, it's Chevron Relief Stitch. Row 1, it says to single crochet in the second chain. You're going to chain 25 loosely, and then single crochet, second chain from the hook, and each stitch across. And then row 2, which is going to be your right side, which you're going to mark with your stitch marker. Then it says to chain 2, turn, and then do a half double crochet in each single crochet across, and you should have 24 half double crochets. Those are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to pause the video here and catch up to where you're at, and I will meet you back here when I'm to my last couple of half double crochets. Okay, something I want to show you in the pattern. I just did all my single crochets. I counted. I have 24 single crochets. In the pattern here, you will notice when you're reading a pattern, it tells you chain 2 and turn. Then it says half double crochet in the first single crochet. Sometimes in a pattern, it will tell you that this chain 2 would count as your first half double crochet. In that instance, you would skip the first single crochet and go into the second single crochet. But because it doesn't say that, and it tells you specifically half double crochet in the first single crochet and in each single crochet across, and you should have 24 half double crochets when you're finished. I thought that was something I would point out because some people don't realize that. Usually in a pattern it will tell you in parentheses, it'll say, chain 3, this will count as your first double crochet here and throughout, which means throughout the entire pattern, every time you chain 3 and turn, it is going to count as your first double crochet or half double crochet. So you would skip that first stitch because your turning chain is your first stitch. So I thought I would just point that out because that will throw your stitch count off. So row 2, chain 2, turn, and do a half double crochet. I think everybody pretty much knows how to do a half double crochet, but we'll just do a little refresher course here. There's my chain 2, you yarn over, go into your first single crochet, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and draw through all 3, if I can see here, and draw through all 3. And you just do that all the way across, yarn over on your single crochet, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3. So do that till you get to the end, and I will be back when we get to the end. Okay, I'm down to my last couple stitches here to finish up my row. And then I'm into your last. And make sure when you're doing your stitches that you go under both. I'm having difficulty getting under here trying to see. If you look, you have 2 legs. Make sure you get under both legs of your chain, like that. And drop your loop. And there's your first 2 rows. Your first row was single crochet, and then you did a row of half double crochets, and we should have 24 stitches. So you turn your work over like this and look at your chains, or the V's that go like this, and you count. So there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So we have 24. So that's row 1 and 2. Now row 3, you're going to chain 1, okay, and turn. And you're going to do a single crochet in every stitch, including the very first stitch going across here. And I'm going to show you something on the pattern here I want to explain. On the pattern here, if you look, it says row 3 and all wrong side rows. Chain 1, turn, and single crochet in each stitch across, still maintaining 24 stitches. The half double crochet row we just did, okay, that's the end there. This is where your stitch marker comes in, so you know which one is your right side row. And it's just really a reminder. So you just take and just mark it loosely in any stitch here. I just use these clippy markers, and that is how I know that's my right side row, because row 3 tells you to single crochet and on every wrong side row here out. So that means, which is basically your odd rows. Every time you get to an odd row, you are going to single crochet. So you go ahead and single crochet in this row, and I will meet you back here for row 4, which is where we will begin our pattern. Okay, I have finished my row of single crochets. Before I start into row 4, I'm going to double check to make sure I still have 24 stitches. For this particular block, this stitch, the Chevron Relief Stitch, stitch count is very important, or it will throw off this part here when you're coming back. So let's do a quick check here. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and oops, get the loop out of there, 24. Oh, and I didn't bother telling you, I am using a size H 5mm hook, which is the size that we are using for the blocks, and this is a worsted weight number 4, which is what we're using for the pattern. This just isn't the color that I'm using. I'm using a different color green. But so that'll be easy. So we've got our first 3 rows done. So let's look at row 4, what the pattern has to say. It says to chain 2 and to turn. We're going to half double crochet in the first 2 single crochets, and then here in these brackets, that's why you always read ahead on your row. Okay, always read ahead. So we're going to read the whole thing. It says to chain 2, turn, half double crochet in the first 2 single crochets. Then it says to work front post double crochet around the post of the stitch below the next single crochet twice. Skip 2 single crochets behind the front post double crochet now and throughout. Half double crochet in the next 5 single crochets. Repeat from the star across to the last single crochet, and then half double crochet in that last single crochet. So let's see what they're telling us to do. Half double crochet in the first 2 single crochets is pretty self-explanatory. But what they're telling us to do is we are going to work a front post double crochet around the post of the stitch below the next single crochet. So let's do our chain 2 and turn. Do your first 2 half double crochets in your first 2 stitches. There's 1 half double crochet, there's 2 half double crochets. Okay, now it says we're going to do a front post double crochet in the stitch below the next single crochet. Here's your next single crochet in the stitch below. Now, sometimes if it's confusing to you and you want to know which one is the stitch below, a little trick I use is I go down here and I say, okay, I've got 2 stitches, so I want my 3rd stitch in, which is here. So I'll count 3 stitches in here. 1, 2, 3. Because this stitch lines up here, this stitch lines up here, and then this stitch lines up here. So let's tighten up there. We're going to do a front post double crochet. Or excuse me, yeah, front post double crochet. So you yarn over. Now to do a front post double crochet, you go in behind your stitch like that. Okay, so that's what it looks like. You come in from behind, go behind your stitch, and come back up to the other side, yarn over, and bring your yarn up. And then just finish your double crochet. Oops. Again, we don't edit here. That happens. And I'm doing the stitch below my single crochet, which was a row of half double crochet, if you remember. And there is my front post double crochet. Okay. Now the pattern told you to do that twice. Okay. So we're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, locate the next stitch, the stitch below it, go behind it, and yarn over, and finish your double crochet. And there's your 2 front post double crochets. Now it says we're going to half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. Excuse me, back up. I apologize. We did our 2 front post double crochets twice. We're then going to skip the next 2 single crochets that are behind the front post double crochets, now and throughout, which means throughout this row and the rest of the pattern you're going to skip those 2 stitches, which makes sense. And what they're talking about is, if you locate, okay, here's your 2 front post double crochets. If you just rotate your work slightly, you will see here there's 2 single crochets behind your front post. Those stitches are your front post double crochets. You went below them to make it. So there's your 2 stitches. Those 2 stitches are accounted for right there. Then the pattern says that we are going to half double crochet in the next 5 single crochets. So we're going to skip this one and this one that are behind the 2 front post double crochets, and we're going to go into this one right here. So we're going to do a half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So there's our 2 half doubles, 2 front post doubles, 5 half doubles. And this is where our repeat comes in. So it says repeat from the star, which is up here, across. So from this star, we're going to do exactly what we just did, to right there, until we get to the last single crochet, and that's a half double crochet. So let's repeat this across. So now we're supposed to do 2 front post double crochets in the stitch below. So check your stitches. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These line up here. This is where I think some of the problems were coming in. People were not counting their stitches properly when they did their front post double crochets. That's why I thought I would show you one of the tricks that I do. It might take you an extra few seconds, but it's worth it. And because this is a small piece, so an easy way to do it is, until you get into the rhythm, is I'll just check. There was my 2 double crochets, there was my 2 front posts, and then I did 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this stitch here is where I'm going to do my next front post double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to come down, go behind that stitch, work my front post double crochet. I'm going to go to the one next to it and work another front post double crochet. There's my 2 front post double crochets made. skip these two, which brings me to here. We're going to do 5 half doubles. Here's my 2 I skipped. So I'm going to do my 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. And there's my 5. Again. Okay, again. We can check to see our next 2 front posts. So we did 5 half doubles. So let's just check the stitches below. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then this will be our first front post double crochet. So we're going to go behind this stitch here and do our front post double crochet. Go to the next stitch, do your next front post double crochet. Then we will do 5 half doubles. Let me get some yarn here. Then we'll do our 5 half double crochets. And then we have 1 more half double in the last single crochet. So if we've done our count right, that's how it should work out. So turn, locate your 2 stitches behind your front posts, go into that next stitch, make sure you're not missing a stitch, and there should be 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, technically, we should have 24 stitches. Okay, and I think the biggest problem with this block has been misplacing the front post double crochets as you progress up the chevron. So I'm going to check and see if we have 24 stitches here. So let's check this. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So there's our 24 stitches. But what is not proper is we were supposed to have 5 half double crochets after our 3rd front post. And then there was supposed to be 1 single crochet left to put a half double into. And that did not work out. So then I started thinking back, okay, let me check my stitch count. So a simple way that I do that, I always have a piece of pen and paper handy just to double check my stitch count. And what I do is I'll go across. Okay, so I did 2 half doubles, okay, and then it was supposed to be 2 front posts, and then 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we did 2 front posts, then it was 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it was our last 2 front posts. Then it was supposed to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we were supposed to have 1 lonely stitch single crochet left. Now, I did mine. I didn't get that 6th single, so let's see what happened. So let's count our stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23. So see, we needed that crochet to make 24. But I'm looking at we just did a stitch count, and it's showing 24 stitches. So then I start looking, and then I see back here, and here is where the problem was. This is where the screw up was. You see here, behind my first set of front post double crochets, I skipped one too many chains. Okay, so I misplaced my first half double crochet. So what happens when we do that? We rip her back. Okay, and this happens. That's what I noticed when I was doing this block the first time. That it was something as simple as misplacing a half double crochet that would throw it off. So you just go back. I'm going to yarn over. And I'm going to count 1, 2, and that's the stitch. Double check it. Okay. Sometimes the chains will hide. So there's 1, 2. Okay, I'm in the third one, and I'll do my half double crochet. Now this should work out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Front post, we do 2 of those. There's 1. There's a stitch. There's 2. You see how it adjusted? Because the last time we went over that stitch, it adjusted the stitch over 1. And this is where the problem comes in with the pattern. So did that. We do 5 half double crochets. Double check your chains. 1, 2. This is the stitch you put your first half double into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do our last set of front post double crochets. Now, you want to check. Okay, there's our front post. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This here, right here, should be my first front post double crochet. Yarn over. So technically, if we did everything right this time, do our front post, all the stitch counts should work out. There's our 1 front post double crochet. There's our second front post double crochet. Turn it over, skip the 2 chains behind your front post, and we should have our 5 half doubles. Four, 5, and then we should have 1 stitch left. And look at that, the stitch worked out. And there's your last half double, and that is row 4. So that is row 4. And if you remember in the pattern, it said all wrong side rows are single crochet, so you would chain 1, turn, and single crochet in each stitch. So I'm not going to do that on camera because I'm time-wise for the filming. So just go across, and I will meet you back here for the next row. I will show you though, when you're going behind your front post, okay, I'll go to the front. Do your single crochet to your first front post double crochet, just to make sure you get you don't stitch in the back of the front post. You want to use your top of your double crochet front post. And there I am. I'm up on my front post double crochet right there. See, there's the 2 we skipped, and there's my 2 front posts. This is where you want to do your single crochet, is in the double front post. Front crochet, sorry about that. We're going to do I'm getting ready to do a double crochet, I'm talking about it. And then go work your way across. And I will meet you back here. Okay, I just finished my wrong side single crochet row. Again, on this pattern, stitch count and stitch placement is very important. So let's just check our stitch count. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Okay, so we have our 24 stitches onto row 6. Now, row 6 says we're going to chain 2, turn, and we're going to half double crochet in the first 3 single crochets. Then we're going to work a front post double crochet around the post of the stitch below the next single crochet twice, then half double crochet in the next 5 single crochets, and we're going to repeat that across. So, let me get my yarn here. We're going to chain, well, let's do this right here. Okay, we're going to chain 2. For heaven's sakes, having difficulties here chaining. We're going to chain 2, turn, half double crochet in the first 3 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we're going to do 2 front post double crochets. Now, here's you want to check to make sure, because we're starting our pattern. Okay. There is your 3 half double crochets. Below the stitches, we're going to count. There's 1, 2, 3. Now, if you will notice, your third one is your front post double crochet from the row below. So our first front post double crochet in this row is going to be around the second front post double crochet. So there's going to be 1, 2. Okay, so if you can see that, how it offsets. There's the one you skipped. There's your, because here's your first one from that row below, and then we just went, there's our first front post, second front post. Then we're going to do 5 half double crochets, turn it over, make sure you only skip, here's your chain, there's 1 chain, 2 chain, so this is where your first half double crochet is going to go into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get some more yarn here. Now we're going to do 2 front post double crochets. So we know that we're going to, the first front post from the row below we're going to skip, because this establishes a pattern all the way across. So this is going to be our first front post double crochet on this row, and then we'll do our second one in the next stitch. Check behind, skip that one, skip that one. That's our first half double crochet, and we're going to do 5 half double crochets. You finish your 5 half double crochets across, do your last set of front post double crochets, count your stitches, and then do your row 7 single crochet on the wrong side. And I will see you back. This is going to be part 1 of the tutorial. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this tutorial in a couple of parts because we just got through row 6 and it's already 35 minutes long. So I am going to finish this up and start it uploading to YouTube, and then I will do part 2 of the tutorial. So that way you can at least hopefully get this one up today. And once this is up, I will pull the other one down. Alright, I hope it's not too long. I hope it is explained a little bit more in depth, and also it's helping you to read a pattern. So until then, till that part 2, I will see you in the next video, and we will do a brief recap in part 2. See you then. Bye for now.